Do you want to find a stress-free way to buy your next car? Start at CarMax and shop your way. If you want to browse with confidence, get pre-qualified online with no impact on your credit score and shop cars within your budget. From luxury cars to family rides, CarMax has options for almost every price range, including more than 25,000 cars priced under $25,000. So hey, want to get started? Just head to CarMax.com for details and get pre-qualified today. Want to drive? CarMax.
Hey listeners, this is Peter and welcome back to the History Shorts. Today's episode is brought to you by the Podcast Republic, your ultimate listening app. Discover and subscribe to thousands of podcasts from around the world. Download Podcast Republic today, available on Google Play and the Apple App Store. Today on History Shorts. Most people think of the Great Lakes as a vacation destination. Beaches, lighthouses, summer cottages. The kind of place you take the family on a long weekend. Here's what those people do not realize. Beneath the surface of those 5 lakes, Superior, Michigan, Huron, Erie, and Ontario, there are an estimated 6,000 shipwrecks. That's 6,000. More ships per square mile of water than almost anywhere else on Earth. The Great Lakes Shipwreck Museum estimates that those wrecks claimed approximately 30,000 lives over the past 3 centuries. 30,000 people, guys, in lakes, in the middle of North America. Our history brief today covers some recent history news. A quick word from our sponsors.
Owning a home is full of surprises. Some wonderful, some not so much. And when something breaks, it can feel like the whole day unravels. That's why HomeServe exists. For as little as $4.99 a month, you'll always have someone to call. A trusted professional ready to help, bringing peace of mind to 4.5 million homeowners nationwide. For plans starting at just $4.99 a month, go to homeserve.com. That's homeserve.com. Not available everywhere. Most plans range between $4.99 to $11.99 a month your first year. Terms apply on covered repairs.
This day in history. On May 19th, 1536, Anne Boleyn, the second wife of King Henry VIII, was executed in the Tower of London. Her death marked a dramatic chapter in England's break with the Catholic Church. On May 19th, 1962, actress Marilyn Monroe famously sang "Happy Birthday, Mr. President" to John F. Kennedy at Madison Square Garden, a performance that became an iconic moment in American cultural history. Story of the day. The Great Lakes are not small by any measure. Lake Superior alone covers more than 31,000 square miles, larger than the entire state of South Carolina. Lake Michigan is larger than the state of West Virginia. Together, the 5 lakes contain approximately 20% of the world's surface of fresh water. Their size is the first problem. When storm systems move across lakes of this scale, they generate waves that behave like ocean swells, steep, powerful, and relentless. Sailors who had crossed the Atlantic sometimes said that a November gale on Lake Superior was worse than anything they had encountered at sea. The second problem here is the weather. The Great Lakes sit at the intersection of cold Arctic air masses moving south from Canada and warm, moist air moving north from the Gulf of Mexico. When these systems collide, particularly in autumn when the temperature differential is most extreme, they produce storms of extraordinary violence. Sudden squalls can appear with almost no warning. Winds can reach hurricane forces within hours. Waves can build to 30 feet or more, and the lakes have almost no deep harbors along many stretches of their shoreline. A ship caught in open water during a November gale had, in the era before modern forecasting, almost no options. It ran or it sank. The commercial history of the Great Lakes begins in earnest with the opening of Erie Canal in 1825. The canal connected the Hudson River and through it the Port of New York to Lake Erie, transforming the lakes overnight from regional waterways into the commercial spine of the continent. Lumber from Michigan, grain from the prairies of the Midwest, iron ore from the ranges of Minnesota and Wisconsin, coal moving west, finished goods moving east. By the middle of the 19th century, the Great Lakes carried more commercial traffic than any comparable body of water in the world. And with that traffic came risk. Economic incentives drove many ship owners and captains to be on the water in November, when the deadliest storms were most likely to strike. As the weather worsened, shipping rates increased to the point that ship owners and crews could earn 3 times as much money for a late season run. The sailors called it one more voyage strategy. The lakes called it something else. The wrecks came in every form the water could devise: storms, collisions, fire, ice, and structural failure. Some ships vanished so completely that no wreckage was ever found, swallowed whole by a lake that offered no explanation. The Bannockburn disappeared on Lake Superior in November of 1902, with no distress signal and no survivors. A few witnesses claimed to have seen her through the fog, and then nothing. She was never found. Sailors called her the Flying Dutchman of the Great Lakes. Other disasters were witnessed by thousands and changed nothing. In 1905, the steamer Mataafa broke apart in a storm off the harbor of Minnesota, close enough to shore that thousands of people gathered on the beach to watch, stoking bonfires so that the stranded crew might have some light. 9 men died. The crowd watched from the shore, and there was nothing anyone could do. The deadliest single storm in Great Lakes history struck in November of 1913. Meteorologists later called it the White Hurricane, 2 massive storm fronts that collided over the lakes, producing blinding snow, winds of 90 miles per hour, and waves estimated at 35 feet. The storm claimed over 250 lives, destroyed 19 ships, and stranded another 19 against the rocks. The worst losses occurred on Lake Huron, where 8 ships sank within hours of each other. In some cases, the ships were found floating upside down, their hulls intact and their crews all gone. The bodies of sailors washed ashore for weeks afterward. Some were found still wearing their life jackets. The life jackets had not saved them, obviously. The water temperature in November on Lake Huron is approximately 40 degrees Fahrenheit. A man in 40-degree water loses consciousness in less than an hour. The United States Weather Bureau had failed to predict the storm's full intensity at the time. Ships had sailed directly into it, without any warning. What makes the Great Lakes wrecks unlike almost any other maritime graveyard in the world is what the water does to them. The cool temperatures, reaching near freezing below 100 feet, mostly keep the ship's wood from rotting. In salt water, a wooden ship deteriorates within decades, but in the cold freshwater of the Great Lakes, it can survive for centuries. Divers exploring wrecks in Lake Superior have found vessels from 1800s, with their hulls completely intact, their cargo still in the hold, and their crew's personal belongings still in the cabins. Dishes on tables, boots besides bunks. The SS Kamloops, which sank in Lake Superior in 1927, is known among divers for something more unsettling. Several of the crew members' remains are actually still aboard. The cold water preserved them, and they are still there. This is what the phrase ghost fleet actually means on the Great Lakes. It's not a metaphor, nor a legend. Ships intact on the bottom with everything, and sometimes everyone, still inside them. The most famous Great Lakes wreck is probably the Edmund Fitzgerald, the massive ore carrier that sank on Lake Superior on November 10, 1975, during a fierce storm, taking all 29 crew members with it. Gordon Lightfoot's song immortalized the ship the following year. The bell, recovered from the wreck in 1995, is displayed at the Great Lakes Shipwreck Museum at Whitefish Point, Michigan, the most dangerous stretch of water on Lake Superior, where more ships have been lost than anywhere else in the lakes. The museum estimates 6,000 ships and 30,000 lives lost across the lakes since the 17th century. 29 men died on the Fitzgerald in 1975. They were the last commercial sailors to die in a Great Lakes shipwreck. Modern navigation technology, weather forecasting, Coast Guard inspections, and load regulations have transformed the lakes into something that can actually be crossed safely. The era of catastrophic loss, you might say, is now over. But all those other wrecks remain. 6,000 of them, scattered across the floors of 5 lakes that most people cross on vacation, or photograph from the shore, or simply drive past on the interstate. The History Brief. Today on Some History News, we're going back nearly 1,500 years to one of history's earliest recorded pandemics, and a discovery that is helping scientists understand not just the disease, but the people it killed. According to reporting from the Smithsonian Magazine, archaeologists studying a mass grave in the ancient city of Jerash in modern-day Jordan have uncovered new details about victims of the Plague of Justinian, the first known outbreak of the bubonic plague. The plague first struck in 541 CE, sweeping across the Byzantine Empire and killing tens of millions over the next 2 centuries. And in Jerash, the impact was devastating. Historians estimate that roughly half the city's population, around 10,000 people, died in a short period of time. The death accumulated so quickly that normal burial rituals, once considered sacred, had to be abandoned. Instead, bodies were brought to the city's hippodrome, a former arena that had once hosted chariot races, and later functioned as the industrial space. During the crisis, it became something else entirely, a mass grave. But what makes this discovery important isn't just the scale of the death, it's what scientists are now learning about the victims themselves. Using DNA and isotope analysis from teeth, researchers were able to reconstruct details about how these individuals lived before they died, and what they found challenges assumptions. Rather than a single isolated community, the victims appear to have come from diverse backgrounds. Chemical signatures in their teeth suggest that many may have grown up in different environments, drinking water from wells, as well as even mountain streams. In other words, Jerash was a cosmopolitan city, filled with travelers, workers, and migrants drawn by the trade and opportunity. And when the plague struck, all of those different lives converged in one place, and in one tragic end. Researchers say that this helps shift the focus of pandemic history. Instead of just identifying the pathogen, the bacterium that causes plague, they're now asking deeper questions. Who were the people affected? How did they live? And how did societies respond when everything collapsed? Because what happened in Jerash wasn't just biological, it was also social. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today and helping make this little show such a mighty success. If you're enjoying this show and would like to help with its production, you can always donate a few dollars at buymeacoffee.com or become a Patreon member to enjoy these episodes ad-free. Both of those links can be found on our website at www.historyshortspodcast.com. Also, I hope you guys check out our YouTube channel where we have different series that are not part of this show. And also, you could watch the weekly interviews in their entirety on video. Have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you all again tomorrow.
In 2020, 2 best friends and history teachers dropped a podcast, and people actually listened. Fans showed up. Then 2024 hit, COVID ended, and life said, nah. Well, History Teachers Talking is back. Bigger, louder, and still wildly unqualified to talk about, well, everything that is remotely history adjacent. History Teachers Talking is now streaming wherever you get your podcasts. Part of the History Shorts Network.
Spring is packed patios, parties, wedding weekends, and RK Zero Proof keeps you in the mix without the morning after regret. As the original Zero Proof Spirits brand, RK's Warm Molecule gives you that real deal burn of whiskey or tequila with none of the alcohol. 0 calories, 0 sugar, and a whole lot of freedom to enjoy the moment. Sip smarter this season at rkzeroproof.com.